This may be one of the most interesting video that you'll ever see. This is Succession seasons 1 through 3 leading up to the 4th and final season. Logan Roy is a media tycoon, owner of the mega corporation Waystar Royco. But now, on the eve of his 80th birthday, he's ready to retire, going to leave the company in the hands of his son, Kendall. Kendall's been training for this his whole life, but he kind of just blew a big deal. And Logan's a real tough love kind of dad. Son, you're a huge disappointment. You don't have that killer instinct. So his dad calls a family meeting where it's like, I think I'm not gonna retire. So with Kendall no longer the heir apparent, his siblings are ready to fight for the top spot. And it's Game of Thrones in the modern corporate world. The oldest brother, Connor Roy from Logan's first marriage, isn't involved in the business. He's doing his own thing. Their younger brother Roman is kind of a screw-up who doesn't take anything seriously. But now that it's out there, he's like, yeah, why not me? Their sister, Shiv doesn't work at the company. She's got a successful career as a political consultant. But now that CEO is up for grabs, she's like, yeah, I'd crush it. Shiv's fiance Tom Wamscams is climbing up that corporate ladder. He grew up middle class and is desperate to impress her rich, powerful dad. New to the inner circle is cousin Greg, who recently lost his job at Star and has come to ask his uncle for a new one. But Greg is hilariously not used to this high-powered New York lifestyle. It's Tom who takes Greg under his wing and kind of bullies him, but is like, nah, man, I'm just razzing, yeah, but also I am kind of serious. So Logan Roy is considering which of his children can take his place, but immediately there's a shake-up. When he has a stroke, it looks like he'll live, but he's out of commission for a bit. So they do name Kendall acting CEO. But General Counsel Jerry Kelman has some bad news that the company's got some huge debt that'll be called in if the stock price drops too far. And it's currently plummeting because their dad's health issues, so they might lose the company immediately. So Kendall pays a visit to his best friend Stewie, who's a classic douchebag finance bro. Now, by the way, the stakes of the show are not that high because at any point they can sell out and happily retire as billionaires. Before this family, the money is a given. They want the power and prestige. So Kendall convinces Stewie not to buy them out, but to buy in and save it. So Kendall's doing a decent job, but his dad does not agree. He rushes his recovery to get back in the office and start undermining Kendall. He makes it clear he's not retiring anytime soon, so Kendall's gonna have to push him out. He works with Logan's longtime top advisor, Frank D'Stacy, and have the board vote him out due to health concerns. One of the votes they hope to get is Logan's brother, Ewan Greg's grandpa. Who's a real grumpy guy and absolutely hates his brother Logan. So Kendall slides in there like, hey, help me push him out. But Ewan's like, whoa, that's slimy, bro. I don't like you either. But even without him, they have the votes. But on the day of the meeting, Kendall's stuck in traffic. So he has to call in to make a speech about how his dad can't handle it, which doesn't have the same effect. When Logan's the one who's actually in the room, everyone who's on the fence backs down. By the time Kendall gets there, his coup has failed. His dad is none too pleased, fires everyone involved. Yeah, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. So with his brother all the way out, Rowan steps up, takes more responsibility, but he's not good at that work part. He's more of an ideas guy. Shiv is still working in politics now, advising presidential hopeful Gileadus. His whole platform is taking down corporations like Waystar, but that's fine. By Shiv fighting her dad is how she'll earn his respect. Her fiance Tom has been promoted and brought Greg with him as his executive assistant. Greg is still new to this world, so Tom's like, hey bro, let me teach you how to be rich, which apparently involves eating endangered species. Now Tom just took over the cruise division, but to get some bad news, back in the 80s, there's a ton of sexual harassment and it was all covered up and it's a huge scandal waiting to blow. So Tom makes Greg destroy the evidence. But Greg's actually pretty smart. He decides to keep copies of just in case. Kendall's been doing his own thing, trying to rebrand himself as a cool venture capitalist. But now he meets with Stewie, who has a confession. The money he invested with secretly came from Sandy Furness, his father's biggest business rival. So together he and Kendall have enough stock for a hostile takeover. Get their dad out, put Kendall in. So it all comes to a head. Shiv and Tom's wedding. a lovely affair despite some huge family drama. Roman thinks it's funny to bring as a date to the girl from Tom's bachelor party, and the satellite launch he rushed as a wedding present. Does not go well. Connor's date is his longtime girlfriend Willa, but she's less of a girlfriend and more of an escort. But they've just taken the big next step from occasional escort to full-time sugar baby, and when Connor meets politician Gil Evans, he realizes he wants to get into politics, starting with President of the United States, and Chip and Tom themselves have a complex relationship. She loves him, but also she's been cheating on him all season with her co-worker, but to her it was no big deal. It's like we're rich. I thought it was a given we could bang whoever we want. That was news to Tom though. But the biggest drama comes from Kendall launching a hostile takeover of the family company. It's like bro on my wedding night and Kendall feels bad. Sorry, it's just business, but that's the problem with a family business. It's not just business, it's family now. Kendall had a drug problem, but he's been sober for a while. But after getting fired he decided being sober is lame, and tonight he is very not sober and drives with a caterer to buy some more drugs. But oh no! They crash into the river and Kendall makes it out, but that poor kid dies. Kendall doesn't know what to do, so he goes back to the wedding and dances. But he is freaking out by the morning. His dad's security team has already covered up Kendall's involvement. It's okay son, let your dad take care of it, and that's what Kendall needs right now. Rushes back to his father's arms. So in season 2 Kendall backs out of the takeover. He's working at Waystar again. A shell of a human being, just does whatever his dad wants. Stewie and Sandy are very upset with him, and this doesn't stop the takeover. It just makes it harder. Gonna be a long drawn out war. So Logan calls a family meeting. Hey, do we want this fight, or is it time we cash out with our billions of dollars? He talks to the kids one by one to get their pitch on the future of the company. Siobhan's like, well, I haven't really thought about it, but it's clear she thought about it a lot. And so he tells her, Shiv, it's you, and they make the secret deal. Shiv will be the next CEO. She gives Tom the good news, but their original plan? He was going to be CEO. And she's like, oh, don't worry baby, you'll still be way high up. Just, under me. In fact, right now Tom's promo voted again out of cruises to the big leagues news. Naturally, he brings his buddy Greg with him. They continue to get up to shenanigans, so Shiv comes in, starts working at the company to get some experience before they can announce. So now all 3 siblings are working together, fighting each other for their dad's approval, which is Logan's dream come true. Roman needs help from someone experienced and makes a secret alliance with Jerry, who advises him to show his dad he's serious by taking the Waystar management program. Now we've seen that Roman has some issues with sex. Namely, he doesn't like it. Turns out what really turns him on is when Jerry calls him a pathetic failure and a disgusting pervert, and these two form an interesting relationship. The main thing this season is fighting the takeover. Logan's plan is to expand, get so big they can't get bought out. So he wants to buy Pierce Global Media, their biggest news competitor. But Nan Pierce wants to ensure her company would be in good hands. So they have a billionaire family get-together where the Roys have to pretend to be good people. For the weekend, they befriend the bizarro versions of themselves. Kendall's is Naomi Pierce, who is also a recovering addict, not currently recovering. And as they're both from billionaire news media messed up families, they get each other and date for the rest of the series in case it comes up. By the way, Kendall does have an ex-wife and a couple kids, but it doesn't really come out much, so they impress Nan enough that she's willing to sell if Logan names a successor, his daughter Siobhan, a woman whose liberalicious should be no problem, because it's the heir anyway. But Logan refuses, willing to blow up the deal over it. And so she realizes her dad's changed his mind if he ever even really meant it in the first place. If she wants the job, she's gonna have to fight for it. Now the Pierce deal is still gonna go through because Logan's back chilling with their CEO, Ray and Gerald. But right as Nan's about to sign, a big bomb drops the crew. Scandal finally breaks. Now it's not that bad. They don't have proof, but even the allegations blow up the deal after this, right? It starts working for Logan. In fact, they start sleeping together, which his wife Marcia does not appreciate. But now that she is their dad's new favorite, the kids band together to kill her, not actually kill. They say that a lot, but what they mean is get fired with a golden parachute. So Araya throws Logan a big surprise party where Roman buys him the wrong soccer team and Kendall does a super cringy rap. And now as Logan announces Rhea as his successor, Shiv doesn't stop it because she had warning that the crew scandal was about to blow up, which poisons Rhea's tenure and she immediately resigns. And this time it's serious. With congressional hearings, they blame it all on Lester, who was head of cruises at the time. Say upper management didn't know, but when their nickname for Lester was Uncle Mo, it's hard to claim you didn't know he was a molester. So they take the yacht out for a big family meeting where it's like, look, basically someone has to go to jail. They have a very polite discussion where everyone argues how it should be literally anyone except for themselves. Naturally, Logan himself was not even an option, so it's his loyal son Kendall, who's willing to take one for the team. But as he begins his big press conference, he goes off script and blames it all on his dad. Yes, he's come out of his season-long funk, realized his dad is not a good person and he should not be protecting him. And he can prove that his dad signed off on the bad stuff because cousin Greg kept those documents. So in season 3, it's all-out war between Kendall and his father. He tries to recruit 2 siblings like, hey, aren't you guys tired of him not naming any of us? This is our moment to take him down and split the kingdom. And this is a dream. All 3 siblings working together. We've had brief glimpses of actual good times where they kind of love each other, but they would split the kingdoms with Kendall on top and they all want the top job. It's no deal. Kendall has cousin Greg on his side, but Greg's being very non-committal. He's trying to play both sides as long as he can. Finally, Logan brings him in for a meeting like, hey kid, I like you, but take this promotion and side with me or I will end you. But Grandpa Ewan doesn't approve of Greg siding with his evil brother, so he cuts Greg out of his will, leaves it all to charity instead. So Greg spends season 3 trying to sue Greenpeace. Tom finds a way to score points with Logan by offering to go to jail if someone still has to, but then he spends all season obsessively freaking out about it. Now the first part of this war is fought in the media, and Kendall's trying to brand himself as a cool woke CEO who's going to take down the corrupt establishment. Of course, his dad fights back and Kendall laughs most of it off except for the very serious personal stuff that really hurts Kendall's feelings. Meanwhile, the takeover from Sandy and Stewie is still happening, and this war between father and son does not inspire confidence in big shareholders like Adrian Brody at the annual meeting. It could come to a vote, but neither side wants that because they could actually lose everything. So Frank's up there. They're trying to stall as long as possible while they make a deal. Sandy's pretty sick these days, so he talks through his daughter also named Sandy. And at this pivotal moment, Logan is also sick. He's totally out of it because he forgot to take his meds. So Siobhan and Sandy have to cut their fathers out and agree to a deal that everyone can get behind. So the company is saved. But the company's still in trouble being investigated by the government. Normally Logan can go to his friend the president to get this shut down. As the owner of the news network, he has a lot of power over the president's approval ratings we've seen before. He's made the president wait on hold, but the president does not stop the investigation, so Logan goes hard on him. His approval ratings plummet. In fact, he went so hard the prisons decided not to run again. So the Roy family travels to the unofficial meeting where they're going to choose the next Republican nominee. The kids all pitch for their preferred candidates. Of course, Connor's preferred candidate is Connor Roy. Yes, this whole time he's still been running for president. In fact, he's actually gotten some traction on his platform of abolish all taxes. And yeah, it's a problem. He has zero experience, but on the other hand, he looks decently presidential, so it's a maybe. But as Kendall finally turns over Greg's documents, turns out they don't actually implicate his dad directly. The investigation fizzles out. Logan Roy won again and no one has to go to jail, which Tom is very happy about. To cheer himself up, Kendall throws a ridiculous 40th birthday party, but he has kind of a mental breakdown and is really sad. But now it's time for another wedding. Their mother who's getting remarried love is in the air, as Connor proposes to Willa if he's gonna be president, he needs to be married. And she's like, you know, I've come this far, why not? And Greg has hit it off with Kendall's media manager. But dating her has increased his perceived value, so he skips a few rungs and hits it off with the Princess of Luxembourg. But Shiv and Chom's marriage has some problems. He's starting to realize she doesn't love him. And her response is, well, I don't love you, but I love you. You know, now there is a new big business deal in the works because Waystar Royco is outdated. They need to get into tech if they're going to survive. They want to buy the hot new streaming service Gojo, owned by Swedish tech entrepreneur Lucas Mattsson. It's Roman who managed just to land the deal. So Jerry texts him good work and he's gonna respond with a dick pic. But his dad also texted him good work at the same time and he responded to the wrong one. Just sent his father a dick pic. But the deal hits a snag when Lucas sends a cryptic tweet that gets everyone speculating in the stock price soaring. So Logan goes out to meet him in person. Like, what's the problem? This is a good deal. But very early on, Logan taught us that a good deal is not a good deal because it means the other party's desperate and you gotta squeeze him for all they're worth. And Lucas absolutely senses that. He's like, no offense, man, but you're the past. I'm the future. I should buy you. Logan would normally never consider that, but this guy's got the business smarts and killer instinct that none of his kids have. He's maybe finally a worthy successor. So at the wedding, their dad is conspicuously absent. They realize he's trying to sell the company out from under them, which again, would leave them out of a job, but with even more billions of dollars. Boo! They recruit their brother Kendall to help him stop it. But Kendall's not doing great. He shaved his head as part of his breakdown and actually almost drowned. He finally confesses his dark secret about how he killed that kid back at Chip's wedding. Now the Roy siblings do not talk about serious stuff. Ever. They really don't know how to comfort him. Roman's advice is like, yo, don't feel bad, man. I've run over lots of people. But while these siblings are constantly fighting, at the end of the day they're the only people that grew up with their dad and understand each other. So it's a beautiful bonding moment. Now if all three of them stay strong together. It was in their mom's divorce settlement. They have veto power over their dad. So it's finally happening. The sibling trio has banded together united in purpose to depose their father, then duke it out for the top spot. So they bust in to stop them. You can't sell. These companies are birthright, but he's like, yo, none of you deserve it. I've already won. He saw this coming and renegotiated that divorce settlement. They have no power. He can do what he wants. But how did he get the jump on them? They didn't tell anyone. The only person she had told was Tom. Oh snap. Tom finally betrayed her, of course, bringing his best bro Greg with him. How will this all come to an end?